If thinking thoughts was a crime, I guarantee you that I would be incarcerated in Florence, Colorado for life. There is extremely something very wrong with me because when I'm angry, I don't punch holes in the wall like the average person does. I never understood that. I'm not fixing that hole in the wall later. I think ahead. I don't show my anger like the average person does, but I'm verbally saying right now that I am extremely upset. Probably more than I ever have been. My head is a very dangerous place for me right now. For many reasons. We have been through this not once, but twice. A judge has gotten killed and murdered in Wisconsin not that long ago, and we, as a society, did not do anything about it, so it would not happen again. That was just one time, not that long ago. Now, another judge has just got murdered in his own driveway. And we, as a society, are still not doing anything about it. So the mentality is, if a judge doesn't go in your favor, well, we'll just go ahead and find out where he lives and murder him. That's the mentality. That's the world that we're living in right now. Some of you people who have a lack of education and who aren't from the streets and who isn't a criminal and doesn't have that criminal mind, you're probably saying to yourself, well, what do you have for us today, Eric? How do we prevent this, Eric? We're listening to you. Well, thank God. There's a good side to some of those people, and there's a downside to some of those people. The good side is at least you want to listen. At least you do care. The downside with you is after I provide you the answers and evidence and very clear exhibits, you're just going to turn off this video and probably think about it for a minute and then carry on with your day. There is absolutely never, ever, no follow-up with you people. You are like the people who run the town hall meetings here in Chicago. It is a big show. It is a big photo op. But there is absolutely not one piece of evidence that shows a week after that town hall meeting was over with, what got accomplished from it. What was done from that town hall meeting. We have spent hours on organizing it. We have spent, God only knows, countless money of paying the people to organize it and stay there for their photo op. and the media and the news. It was a big fucking party over here at these town hall meetings. But there's never no follow-up afterwards. Let's give this a shot. Do you find it a little strange and odd of how these maniacs who murdered these judges found out where these judges live from the get-go? Come on. You're not a criminal. I won't hold that against you. You're not creative. I won't hold that against you. That's what I'm here for, darling. Did it ever occur to you during this investigation of the first judge who got murdered? How did that person find out where that judge lived? Did we look into that? Because I've been Googling it left and right when that first happened just to see. No one's talking about that. And why? It is beyond 100% clear that it is easy to find out where almost anyone lives. When I was a kid, a teenager, and I wanted to find out where certain people lived, I would make friends with someone at Jiffy Lube and give them a couple $100 and say, hey, I got a license plate number. Tell me where this person lives. Now, granted, I wasn't out to murder someone. I definitely wasn't out to do anything legal. But I was a teen. Statutes of limitations expired. Do you find it a little bizarre that someone like me can do that as a teenager? When I was a kid, don't we love those when I was a kid stories, especially from someone like me? That's all I do is get compliments from my fucking stories. When I was a kid, and I wanted to find out where someone lived, I just paid someone at Pizza Hut a couple $100. The internet wasn't around back then. Here's a phone number. Tell me where this person lives. Of course, the guy at Pizza Hut, he's not making that much money, so a couple $100 in cash for him typing in a phone number in the computer system, he did that all day for me. Now? Oh, it got worse. Now there are companies who legally provide information on where almost anyone lives. And you just pay them a couple $100. So do you think, after hearing what I've just told you, what I used to do when I was a teenager, do you think, after hearing what I just said and reminded you about these companies on the internet that do this legally, do you think you would say to yourself, okay, well, now it's time to go to lawmakers and put some laws in place for these companies not to provide where people live at, especially judges? Are we just going to continue to stare at me? Or are we going to process that information? Are we going to just go ahead and say, you know what, yeah, that does make sense. Companies do provide this information if you pay them and it seems to be legal. There are lawmakers that we can Google and contact their offices and their emails And we can reach out to them and request a meeting and a vote to make it against the law for companies to provide people's personal information on where they live. Am I asking too much? Did I say something bizarre? Can we get things done? I go to a store one day. I buy like a $700 suit because I had an event to go to. I think it was at some expensive suit store. Some guy at the register asked me, I'm about to pay cash. What's your phone number? All kinds of things are going on in my head, as usual. Why do you want my phone number? That's very bizarre. You're very delusional. You're upsetting me, and you don't even know it. Don't upset me. Don't upset me. So, of course, he's just an old man. He's like 55 years old. I tell him I don't have a phone number. He goes, okay. What's your address? Why do you want my home address? I ask him. Let me hear your bullshit. Well, I'll send you coupons. Send me coupons. You mean so you could store my information and the corporation could sell my information and do data training with other corporations? Is that what you're really trying to say? Do you even know that guy at the register? Which is another humongous problem. That's one reason why you're at that fucking register. He doesn't even know that. He's under the impression that they really want to send me coupons. I don't have a home address. I'm homeless. Okay. What's your email address? You're still going, aren't you? I don't have that either. You know what that guy told me? You're a very smart man. Okay, so you just tried to fuck me not once but twice but 3 times. And now you're trying to be my friend. And you feel embarrassed for trying to play me when it didn't work. So in return, you're trying to get me to think that I'm insecure. And I appreciate your confidence and your compliment because I'm a tool. Here's the $500 fucking dollars. Give me my fucking suit and have yourself a very great fucking day. I'm just one out of millions. You dumb people give all these stores and all these corporations and absolutely anyone who asks for your phone number, for your email, and even your home address. And you have zero idea what they're doing with that. I live in a world where my surroundings are beyond very stupid. Stop giving everyone anything about yourself. Identity theft has always been the number one crime in America. One reason is because of people like you. One reason is because people like you keep giving all your information out to everybody. You never even bother to ask yourself why. Why is identity theft number one? You go to McDonald's. You go ahead and you scan your phone. Do you have absolutely any idea what they're doing to your phone? Do you have absolutely any idea the information that they're retrieving? See, before, and still from this day, and I'm proud of this, Secret Service is one of the coolest agencies in the United States of America. They're not CIA, but they're not far from it. They're pretty badass. They got a lot of toys. They get the technology first before almost anyone does. And one of the reasons why they get the technology first before anyone else does is because you need to protect the puppet, which you guys call the President of the United States. Which is good. I don't like any of the puppets either. But you don't want any of those puppets getting harmed because it takes a hit and makes our country look extremely bad. So they need the technology to know what's out there. If you have a phone, such as this brand new piece of spy fucking shit, they knew every single thing about this software, up and down, inside out, before anyone else has reached it from a public point of view. Before the public got this piece of fucking shit spy phone, they know all the tricks in the trade. You go walking to major cities such as downtown Chicago, New York. From what I heard, of course I'm not that smart, it's just what I heard. They have buildings and things set up when you walk by, and it alerts them to see who the fuck you are and if you're on some type of watch list. Because you're a demon. Okay. Great. Keeps America safe. God bless. I could assure you, they're not worried about someone like you or me. They're worried about extremists. That is some good shit to have. Problem is, it's not just Secret Service, it's not just NSA. Now we give our shit voluntarily to McDonald's. Now we give our shit voluntarily to the gas station. Now scanning our phones is the new normal for pretty much any corporation. And that's a problem. See, me, I will never scan my phone. Ask me to scan my phone. Don't get me mad. I'm already not doing too good right now. Don't upset me. Don't offend me. Don't try to trick me. Stop giving your information to anyone because they are selling it. You're probably saying to yourself, why do you care so much about these judges dying? Well, in case you haven't figured it out, I created Operation Chicago. I first used to get the question, why do you care so much about poor black people on the south side of Chicago? That wasn't obvious because I came from there. That was a no-brainer. Then, later on, I get the question, why do you care when Chicago police die? You don't even like them. That was never true. I never liked suburban police for them pulling me over for stupid shit, but I didn't think they should die. I feel sorry for the police. I don't like them. I feel sorry for them. There is a huge difference. I like Department of Defense. I love Department of Defense. I feel sorry for the Chicago police. So I try to help them. Unfortunately, the higher-ups to be don't want that help. So now we're at the point of why do I care that 2 judges die? Oh, well, I could explain that right now. It's actually extremely, extremely easy to follow along if you would like to, if you're educated enough to. Our system here in America clearly isn't 100% correct. There are injustices everywhere across the states. But if you look at our system here in America compared to other countries, well, I think you'll appreciate and change your tune very fast and realize our system isn't as bad as most of their systems. Why don't you go to North Korea and check out their system, where they make you have a false confession on camera, and that was before them torturing you. And after they tortured you, then we're going to get the camera, then we're going to clean you up, then we're going to make it look like you are fine and you haven't been tortured. There's ways to torture people without leaving any marks. Take my word for it. You want to live in a system with North Korea? Because if you do, just keep on murdering United States judges and see where that goes. Because eventually everyone is just going to have that mentality. Why don't you check the system? The court system in Russia. There's a good one. Why don't you check the court system in China? You like those court systems better? We have judges and laws and due process in America for very good reasons. A lot of it turned out to be a moneymaker for a lot of people. But the original plot and seed was to keep things fair, was to keep things equal. The rule of law is your best friend and mine. I've been preaching this as far as I could remember. If everyone just goes according to the law, you can't pull out. You arrested me and I'm in court because of the color of my skin. You can't pull out. You arrested me and I'm in court because of my homosexuality. You can't pull out. You arrested me and I'm in court because of my religion beliefs. The only thing that they could pull out is the alleged law that you allegedly broke. And there's a process for you to defend yourself to see if you really did break that law. We have a beautiful system down here, and most of us just don't even realize it. The Constitution is extremely beautiful. It might be the beautifulest piece of paper, besides money, that we actually have. The Constitution is saving and protecting all of us. One of the only reasons why I haven't truly really flipped out on certain people is because of that Constitution. The Constitution has saved some people, and they just don't even know it. Actually, I add to that. The Constitution has saved almost everyone in America. And most of you don't even know it. There's this word anarchy. Obviously, that means chaos. Can you really, honest to God, picture a world where it's just you and me in the village? It's just you and me in the jungle. No joke. I'm not kidding. I'm sorry. I don't mean to intimidate. Let me step back. Let me change the color of my skin. Let me tuck in my lips. Let me take off my hat. Here. Is that better? I don't mean to intimidate anybody. I asked an extremely, very simple question. Left, right, up, down, black, white. Can you imagine if there was no Constitution? And it was just anarchy days, and it's you and me in the jungle, every man for himself? That Constitution is here to protect you and me, son. You should be praying to that Constitution. Some of you guys are saying, someone left me a comment. Great, more laws. Because that really helps out. Smart man, whoever left me that comment. You're right. They say Chicago has the strictest gun laws, but for some strange reason, Chicago has all these murders. You are absolutely right, and I'm with you. But corporations, for the most part, they typically do follow the law. And one of the reasons, they don't want to lose money. They don't want a lawsuit. They don't want the public scrutiny. Image and optics is almost everything to corporations. This law would be extremely effective. If someone watching this video actually went to lawmakers and showed how this judge got murdered in his own driveway, lawmakers would pass a law and would agree that that is just beyond inhumane and disgusting, and that's a hit to our American system. When corporations such as the White Pages, such as Mark Zuckerberg, when they get a letter and a document from the United States Justice Department stating a new law has been put in place, if this law is violated, the FBI will investigate each and every single person at Facebook, at White Pages, at Jiffy Lube, at Pizza Hut, at absolutely any corporation who has received money for providing home addresses of anyone, yet alone judges, who are extremely important to our way of living, you will be charged with a crime, not a lawsuit. The government goes after Facebook and these high-tech companies all the time, and these high-tech companies just pay a little minor fine. I know millions of dollars is a lot of money to people like you. Millions of dollars is pennies and peanuts to those corporations. They paid the fine, and they still continue to do it. But when these corporations are threatened with criminal charges, they will think differently. When these corporations are threatened with investigators to actually investigate their employees and their workstations and timestamps and data, they will guaranteed take this more seriously. Now, I'm going to move on to something else because someone brought this up to my attention, and I'm sure other people are going to bring it up as well, which is fine. I'm an open book, son. I'm not a politician. I'll talk to you. I address everyone. I have dialogue for everyone. I don't hide. I don't have a secretary. I talk about the ups and the downs, even if it involves me. Someone brought up, and someone will probably bring up, well, Eric, this YouTube video is funny considering you got charged with threatening someone 3 years ago. I absolutely did. 100% get charged for that. One, and this is extremely important for me to have integrity and just be the man that I am. That was clearly wrong. I make no mistake that was clearly wrong for me to go ahead and do that. I already knew before I did that, I already knew that was wrong. I'm not denying that. That was against the law. Not denying that. Not denying that one bit. Now, that we identified that I was in the wrong for that alleged threat, did you ever ask yourself who I did that to? Wasn't a judge. What do you think, I'm fucking stupid? They say I did that to one of the most corrupt politicians here in the state of Illinois. That's a fact of life. Do you know why they say I did that? We never talk about why is the problem. Because some will say nothing justifies it. Some will say that, some won't. Remember the Constitution? Remember we're all fair? Remember we're all equal? That didn't play out for me. That corrupt politician that they say I threatened has lied to the grand jury not once, but twice. And I have the grand jury transcripts to prove it. I lost over $1 million of my own personal money, and I lost 3 years of my life in prison from this corrupt politician and her office covering this up. So, when someone breaks the fucking law, and it's very clear in black and white, and they violated the Constitution, there are a lot of people who really cannot be shocked when someone and that person decides to go off the deep end and flips out and makes that alleged threat. You don't want to go there with me on this. And not that it matters at this point. There is a humongous difference of me saying I'm going to do something, which is wrong, versus that motherfucker who actually really did it and went through with it. That was beyond completely wrong. A threat, verbally, is one thing. That's wrong. Actually lying to the grand jury not once but twice, stealing someone's millions of fucking dollars, and stealing 3 years of their life from your fucking lie because you're corrupt and you don't like his skin color and what he calls himself, that is even wronger. The only difference between me and them and the rest of those people is I openly admit it. That I was wrong for doing that, allegedly. Those people will never admit that. I had lawyers tell me, you were wrong for doing that, but they were wrong also for what they did to you. And these are lawyers who have law degrees. Again, let me emphasize and end that topic on a real, honest-to-God, positive note. None of us should have done that. Both of us should have went according to the system and let the system decide. Unfortunately, that was taken away from me by people who work for the system. I was never going to harm those fucking corrupt fucks. I wanted them to think that. But I was never going to. In this incident, the only thing that all of us have in common that we should be focusing on right now is how in God's name did everyone get all of these information of houses and homes. That is the only thing that is relevant right now. You guys go ahead and you say to yourselves, which is another thing that just really upsets me more than anything. Because these are just words. These are just, let's make our own selves feel better. After they find this guy who killed this judge, they go ahead and they tell the family he's dead. Family says they're somewhat relieved. Okay. I could understand that. I'm sympathetic to that. The person who killed your husband and your father is dead too. I'm sympathetic to that. But that's not enough for me. It's nowhere near enough for me. I want to make it where that never ever happened. Right now, there's a son living a good life. Nice house. Nice suburb. Barbecues. Family life. Has a great, smart dad. You know how complicated it is to be a judge. You got to be a lawyer. You got to get a campaign going. You got to sometimes be a public defender. Got to be a prosecutor. It is extremely hard. For all that schooling and education and money and time and dedication that judge has spent a quarter of his life at the very minimum, and I think I'm being generous, that is kind of fucked up and evil for it to be taken away within a snap of a finger because someone decided to hire a company on the internet for a few bucks. That is extremely difficult for that son and that wife of the judge to go home in the driveway every single day to that house and say, this is where my dad was murdered at, right here. This is where his body dropped right here. This is where the blood is right here. How do you live in that house anymore? It's a game changer. My guess is they're going to move. I want to prevent all of that. You guys are just... You're just doing clever talk. You're just providing what... Nothing. So what? He's dead. Fuck him. Fuck him. That boy needs his father again. That wife needs her husband again. That wife is never going to sleep normal at nighttime for the rest of her life again. Thanksgiving and Christmas is right around the motherfucking corner. Their Thanksgiving and their Christmas for the rest of their lives are fucked. And all you guys are saying is the person who killed him and is dead. See? I'm different. I gotta go. Let's end this on a positive note, okay? You people are like Pac-Man. All you do is gobble, 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 and that's all you do. Why don't we reach out to those lawmakers together and come respectfully and say, we want to change this, please. We want a hearing on this, please. Hypothetically, those lawmakers say no. Hypothetically. I'm thinking ahead. God knows I have came beyond so polite and respectful to so many people, but in the back of my head, I know you're going to dick me around. I know you're jerking my chain. I'm ready from a mental point of view. Hypothetically, when we go hand to hand with these lawmakers and we come in the nicest, most respectfulest way, and they say no, well, what better lead to follow than Martin Luther King Jr.? Look at what he's created from the civil rights movement. Do you know how powerful that is? When you protest someone at their offices, when you protest someone at their homes, protest is beyond 100% legal. The founders of the protest encourage it. Now, granted, you have a lot of politicians and people who will say protest is legal and they encourage it, but I think it's safe to say for our smart ones, you and I both know they don't encourage that. Black people could not drink out of the same goddamn water fountain at one point in time until King came and he protested. Black people were not allowed to sit in the front of the bus until King came and he protested. We'll just get hundreds of people and we'll protest you wherever you are. We'll get noisy, we'll get loud, we'll be obnoxious, and we will continue on this for the rest of our lives until you take into consideration of hearing our voices that personal home addresses, especially judges who are responsible for keeping us safe 7 days out the week, is heard. I just left CBS 2 Chicago protesting not too long ago. I made my point. I think they're taking that racist ass shit down. I think they called that racist motherfucker into the office and said, what the fuck is this? I think they called the writers in the office and said, why the fuck did you write that about Chicago Blaxican? I think I did a good job, and I didn't even want to do that. I wanted to go back to high school days. But my high school days are over. Unfortunately, the locker room is over. Now, protest. It seems to work. My best friend told me, hey, did you see that YouTube video with the ex-Chicago cop? It got 1 million views. You should check it out. I said, yeah, I saw that floating around. I was impressed and I was intrigued. Because I was wondering how someone could be a Chicago police officer and retire and somehow, some way rule the tech world and get 1 million views on one video. I was so impressed. Then I find out from my friend it wasn't the cop who got the 1 million views, it was the YouTuber who got the 1 million views for that cop. Like, okay. I didn't watch the video, but go ahead and enlighten me. He said, oh, he talked about how Chicago cops can't give interviews. Okay. We know that. He talked about how the cops don't have a voice. They're not allowed to talk about any of the stuff that goes on to anyone or the media. Okay. We know that. I knew that in my teens. Any government agent who works for the government and the media goes to them and asks them a question, that person who works for the government is typically supposed to have a card on them and or at the very least say, I have no comment. All of that has to go through the public relations office at the headquarters. We know that. Tell me something new, Captain Obvious. Oh, well, he showed that there's a lot of homeless people in Chicago. Okay. We know that. He showed how homeless people are mad at the migrants. We know that. He talked about Richard Daley, Rahm Emanuel, Lori Lightfoot, and how he hates Brandon Johnson. We know that. So, pretty much to make a long story short, that video that got 1 million views and my movie did absolutely nothing. Do we know that? Let me guess. A bunch of people are going to watch my movie. A bunch of people have watched that cop and that video. Cops, people in the ghetto, they're going to sit there and say, oh, wow, yeah, that's fucked up. Oh, wow, yeah, that's sad. Oh, wow, yeah. Then what? I have put out a teaser of my movie Operation Chicago, and I have received so many people in person telling me, are those numbers real? I did research from the numbers of the year 2016 of how much state government receives from crime and their budget. And I broken it down in the Operation Chicago teaser. The best I got were people telling me, are these real numbers? Are they accurate? I'm like, yeah. They are. Oh. Oh, what? Yeah, what? What did that accomplish? I got an O out of you. That person who spent all of that time working on his YouTube channel to get 1 million views got an O out of you. What, he gave you something to do because you're bored? He gave you an education because you lack it? We provide you and we spend thousands and thousands of dollars to provide you an education so you can go, ooh, oh? That's what we did this for. We're here for you. I'm terribly sorry to admit it. It's embarrassing, at least for me. But that video that got 1 million views in my movie, that God only knows how many views it's going to get. It didn't do absolutely jack fucking shit. But what we all can do to get some real work done, lawmakers, public officials owners, protest Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. style. It works. Am I wrong? You got a lawmaker who lives in Chicago. I have 150 people outside that lawmaker's home with a sign that says, "A judge got murdered. We need to change the laws." What do you think that lawmaker is going to do when he's in his home? But he's not going to be fucking happy. His neighbors aren't going to be fucking happy. The media more than likely will be there. Am I wrong? Is King wrong? Hey, Mr. Lawmaker, are you at all curious to find out why or how I was even managed to find out where you live to set up a peaceful protest, potentially? Does that not concern you? That's a problem. That's a fucking problem. Exhibit A, 2 judges. That's a problem. How many more judges have to be murdered by fucking demons because they didn't get their way and they're too uneducated to understand what a fucking appeal means? How many times do we have to go through this? This is what I mean about talking and Pac-Man. How many times do we have to go through this? What is going to be the excuse for the lawmakers to say we're not putting this in place? Okay. What is going to be the excuse? Well, we get money from these corporations. No. Not anymore, you're not going to. See, I'm getting mad. It's okay. You know what? Oh, fuck. No cash bail is really fucking great. I get to pick 12. I'm so good at picking 12. I am such a fucking genius when it comes to picking 12. No one who knows me at all. There is now one person who could deny how good I am at picking 12. I have a boner for talking to my peers. I have a dream, just like Dr. King. I have a dream of picking 12. I have a fantasy of picking 12. Oh, you don't understand. I'm misunderstood. Any investigator who've ever investigated me, and believe me, there were a lot from the higher ups. If you talk to them, all those hot girls would tell you, Eric may be the best communicator in the whole entire state of Illinois, and there's not one prosecutor or investigator who will outtalk him. He gets off on it. Hey, I got Exhibit A for you, motherfuckers. Oh, I got Exhibit A. Here's a news flash. If Manigan and the people at the Illinois Attorney General's office lied to the grand jury and made my bond $1 million so I couldn't pick 12 and fight my case on the outside, if they knew they couldn't do it, what makes you think you could outtalk me in picking 12? They knew they couldn't do it, so they went through great lengths to get evidence out of my hand that showed that I was innocent. The people at the Illinois Attorney General's office are the smartest people in the state of Illinois on a state level. If they knew they couldn't do it, why do you think you have a small of a hair of a fucking hell chance? God, I hope you truly don't believe that. You need to call Patrick Fitzgerald and get him out of retirement for someone like me if we ever had to pick 12 for a noise ordinance. For not leaving the sidewalk. That's my crime. You want a freebie? I'll give you a freebie. You want a freebie of my fucking power? You want a freebie of why, potentially, if I got arrested for a noise ordinance or for protesting, you want a freebie on why I would wipe my ass with your tie in the courtroom from a verbal point of view? You want to know why the jury would get up and scream? See, you're looking for a guilty verdict. Your standards are low as fuck. All you're looking for is the jury to say guilty. Me, I'm not only looking for the jury to say guilty, I'm looking for all 12 of those jury members to get up off of their seats and scream, not guilty, and cheer and clap. And not for my insecurities, cheer and clap for the cause that I am fighting for, just so our judges don't get murdered. That's what I'm looking for. That's what I would get. Your standards are low. You want another freebie? I'll help you out. I'll give you a perfectly lot of heads up. I'll help you out with your cases. You know how to win with the jury? Instead of going in there with manipulation tactics, instead of saying we don't want this juror, we want this juror. Well, no, this juror, he has a background with this. We don't want that because this is it. No. Instead of doing all that and going along with a broken system that's very clearly broken, why don't you just say to yourself the night before, am I really fighting for the right thing? Am I really being an honest person? Do I really believe in this case? Is this case really morally filled with morals and right? Or am I just here because I'm oil in the system? Am I just here because my boss gave this to me? Am I here for political reasons? Just be an honest person. Energy recognizes energy. Frequencies understand frequencies. It's human nature. And it's in the soul world if you know what you're doing. Let me guess. A prosecutor like you would go ahead and tell the jury, ladies and gentlemen, We understand the defendant's motives. We understand the defendant of what he was saying and why, but it's against the law. He can't take the law into his own hands by showing up to lawmakers' houses and protesting out there and creating a disturbance until 3 o'clock in the morning. That would be against the law. Even though his heart's in the right place, what he did was violate the law. Are you done? Your Honor, is it my time to speak? I just don't want him to interrupt me when I talk. Are you done? That's it? That's your opening argument and your closing argument? You know what? You know what I would tell that prosecutor before trial starts? I'd send it in an email. With respect to you, and you could take this any way you want to take it, I'm not getting anything out of this. I'm not getting any money out of this. I'm not dying. I'm not the one getting shot in the driveway. I get nothing out of this. I'm here because I love my judges and I love the way our American system is. And I want to maintain that and protect it. So when you're done getting in my way for trying to maintain that, when you're finished and that jury comes back with not guilty or guilty, which is they're not coming back with guilty, trust me, I think you know that. But whatever the verdict may be, I want you to know after this is over with, now I'm going to go to your fucking place and I'm going to peacefully protest and see how you fucking like it. Protest, it's legal. Why are you offended by that? It's legal. You're wrong, Mr. Prosecutor. It's wrong. I gotta go. If that prosecutor, if you got shot in your fucking driveway, you better believe that I would be doing the same thing on your behalf out of my own free will as a private citizen. I would be angry as well. We need prosecutors to prosecute people who murder motherfuckers. Because if they don't, those same people who murder those motherfuckers are going to murder some more motherfuckers. Maybe even my friends and my family. I don't want that. We need prosecutors to do that. You can't murder a prosecutor because the motherfucker prosecuting you. If someone murdered a prosecutor in the driveway, I'd be advocating for you. Believe me, I would. So how about we just work together and we protest these lawmakers outside peacefully and cause all kinds of noise disturbances? I think it's worth it. And would it be bad to name this law after the judge? Would it? I'm pretty sure his son and his wife would be like, this is a law, this is history, this is how history gets made, these are how street names gets named.